The Longview Economic Development Corporation, LEEDCO, exists to diversify and expand the economy of Longview and provide the highest level of job opportunities and quality of life to Longview residents. We offer assistance to new and expanding businesses with the development and permitting process. We understand there's a lot involved and it can be overwhelming at times for new small business owners. We're here to help you through the process. And best of all, this service is free. For more information about LEEDCO and what we do for Longview, please visit us on the web at longviewusa.com.
The Kilgore College Small Business Development Center provides potential and existing business owners with the practical assistance needed to survive, grow, and prosper. The SBDC can give you an extra advantage to succeed in the business world with free information concerning contracting with the government, international trade, locating customers and suppliers, and much, much more. The Business Information Center is a free resource available to assist you, the small business owner, with research and access to a wide range of professional, technical, and financial information. To schedule your free appointment, please call us at 903-757-5857.
In our last segment, we talked about the formula that's used to figure out exactly what the normal hourly wage is for workers. And it is key that this formula be used, particularly whenever we are trying to think about performance-based pay plans. The formula, of course, says that we take the total compensation for the pay period, whatever that pay period may be, and we divide it by the total hours worked to get an average hourly wage. And that hourly wage determines if we have met minimum wage guidelines and also determines the calculation, the hourly wage calculation that we actually need if we're having to pay any overtime hours because the hours they worked were either over 40 hours for the pay period for most states or perhaps over 8 hours a day in other states. So let's continue our study of performance-based pay and talk about some of the things that, that make up performance-based pay and how it should be done. So when we're talking about total compensation for the pay period, once again we're talking about it could be a normal hourly wage. For example, we could pay a worker $10 an hour for 40 hours, that's $400. Plus that worker might get an extra $200 here or $500 here because they sold something on a commission. Maybe because they sold 3 things in a particular day, there may be another bonus involved. The point is that all of that added together is equal to total compensation. Then the next thing, of course, we must have for performance-based pay, regardless of how we're paying them, is to have a time card. So it's very important that we measure exactly how much time that they have spent and have that on a time card so we can use it for our calculation. And remember, we need to know the overtime requirements for our state. Is overtime over 8 hours per day or is overtime over 40 hours per week? So let's take a look at this chart, this particular slide, and shows you some example compensations. You can take a look. On the left-hand side, it shows that a particular employee worked 40 hours a week and their compensation was actually $1,000. And remember, the $1,000 could be through a series of compensations, bonuses, spiffs, hourly wage, whatever it may be. So we take the $1,000 earned divided by 40, and that equals to $25 per hour. As an employer, we've got to ask ourselves 2 questions. Number 1, is $25 per hour greater than or equal to minimum wage? Yes, it is. Number 2, was overtime worked by this employee? We take a look, we notice that there are 40 hours that were worked. In our state, overtime is rated anything over 40 hours. So in this particular case, no overtime occurred, so the compensation we paid the worker of $1,000 was correct. We paid them $1,000, there was no overtime, and they exceeded minimum wage by making $25 per hour. Now let's say the next week there's a different philosophy and different things have happened. Let's say the next week they still make exactly the same amount of compensation, $1,000, through whatever means they achieve that compensation. Their time card, though, however, shows 50 hours worked. So if we take the $1,000 and divide it by 50, we get an average annual wage, or average wage for that particular period, of $20 an hour. We have to ask ourselves two questions. First question, is $20 per hour equal to or greater than minimum wage for our state? Yes, it is. So we've satisfied the minimum wage requirement. Were there any overtime hours worked? That means, does the hours worked exceed 40 hours? Yes, it does. Because of that, our $1,000 is incorrect. That is not the correct payment for the worker. We've got to take the 10 overtime hours worked and multiply by 1/2 the average hourly wage of $20. And so we have 10 overtime hours worked times 1/2 of 20, so we owe the worker an extra $100. If you think about it, we've paid the worker $20 an hour for every hour they worked, but we have to come back and give them the additional half time based on average hourly wage for the 10 hours that they worked overtime. So their correct compensation is going to be $1,100, not $1,000. This is what's critical.